Wow, this place is packed. You see this? Hello agents, my name is Agent Motion Films, and welcome to my tournament video. So this is going to be the first of many. Look, there's a person! Look! Anyways, so I am going to be recording battles, recording intermissions, recording, even if I do a trade, I'll be recording that probably. So this has the makings of a pretty long video. Oh look, it's Malachi. So, yeah, stay tuned. So, here's the thing. You may remember from yesterday's tournament announcement video, if you watched that, I said I was going to be using grass that I had recently converted to all water. The deal with that is that I left the deck box and the deck list and the coin and the sleeve that I was giving to somebody. It was just an empty sleeve for resleeving. I left all of those in a deck box at my ride's house. So I had to use the deck that I typically use for tournaments, which I guess isn't too much of a fallacy, but it just kind of sucks because I had the deck all prepared and now I don't even get to test it. So now I've gone from 2 EXs, one of them being full art, and the other one being Mega, as well as another EX. So 3 EXs, one of them being full art, one of them being Mega, one of them being just regular, to just 2 regular EXs, and one of them is actually a promo. So I do have a secret rare though, which is nice. Anyway, so that's what happened. So if you're confused at all watching this video, watching my battles, going like, that's not Mega Blastoise, then now you know what happened. See how it's progressively getting louder in here? It's kind of crazy, because there's like actual people. Mind-boggling, really. You know, you wouldn't expect, especially if you don't know much about Pokemon cards, that any non-Pokemon players would show up, which is true. But you would be surprised at how many Pokemon players there are. And that means that a lot of them do show up. Shut up. So yeah, there's like the main master's table over there, and we have kids over here, and there's me, and there's a bunch of other people over here, just random players, deck checks over there, and then Miles is over there, and Miles is awesome. And he's like a legal Pokemon professor, which is awesome. I want to try that one day. And yeah, so I will let you guys know if anything interesting happens.
If you love
I have 7 Moiles.
Play a double colorless.
Look at this, Aiden's battling.
And then use Junk Hunt for laser and a receiver.
But look at this. He also has Dark Eye and Toxicroak.
Laser and a receiver.
So we have a guest star because I'm lonely.
7.
Look,
we will play.
I've played Pokemon for a while, and I gotta tell you what, Charizard's going all the way. Charizard's going all the way.
Don't do that.
Juniper.
Okay, thanks for
Get tired of your escape ropes?
this video that I have yet entitled. Alright, so it looks like the games are about to begin any time now. I'm pretty sure just about everybody's decks are checked, so
This guy's
any
not.
minute I'm expecting somebody to stand up and just go like, yo,
You know when the tournament's gonna start?
let's
out?
begin playing. I do not know when the tournament's about to start.
Or do you know where it's gonna end?
No.
What are you gonna do?
Typically takes a few hours though. Like 3.
When did we get here?
About 10.
Oh, you're using old damage.
A little bit earlier than 10.
Hi.
They can't see you.
No, I'm trying to get my voice level up.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
Hi.
I will see you guys when the games have officially begun. Okay, so here's my battle with Trent Ordnoff. He is a Worlds League player. As a matter of fact, at his prime, he was either 34th or 39th best Senior League, I believe, in the entire world. And it was actually pretty cool to play him. We're friends, we're very well acquainted, and we battle at pretty much every league challenge that he shows up to, which is almost all of them. Pretty sure he already had enough player points to actually go to nationals, but he was just here for the fun, and just something to do. I have a feeling like a lot of the more famous Pokemon players don't really get out that much, and participate, so it was cool to play him. So I didn't get a very strong start here. It's just Yveltal, which actually is a pretty good Pokemon to start with, but it's only if you have like someone like Mewtwo EX in my deck. Something like Mewtwo EX, Toxicroak EX, a Golett with a Golurk in hand, something like that. A lot of energy, that kind of thing. And it's also nice to start getting Dark Energy into the discard pile, which is why I'm going to put an Ultra Ball into that deck as soon as I can. So, yeah. Alright, so for his first turn, he already had a Rayquaza EX ready. He played Professor Juniper with a Tropical Beach as a stadium. That's a real Tropical Beach, by the way. You know, he actually won that card. So, full art Rayquaza, and this is a Raybor deck. Basically, what that means is that the point of the deck is to use Embor's Inferno Fandango ability to get fire energies onto a Rayquaza EX, and then use the attack Dragon Burst, which does 60 damage, and then you have to discard either all fire energy or all electric energy attached to that Pokemon. Does 60 damage times the amount you discard. The average is about 180 damage. Plus, there's a lot of ways to get it. Oh, here's my turn. Okay. Anyway, there's a lot of ways to get it back. So, Cedric Juniper. I don't remember who I was doing it for. I believe I was doing it for Zwillis, who is the evolution of Deino. So I draw 3. I play Deino on the bench. Or no, I Cedric Juniper for Deino. Anyway, so I play Deino on the bench. Let's see. It's actually not that easy to get Hydreigon out on this deck, so I had to really be careful with that. So you see the judge talking to Trent here, and then I say something. I don't even know what I said at this point. When you're doing the narration, you can't hear any of the sound coming from the video. So I was having somebody else cameraman for me, so I wasn't moving the camera around in the first battle like I was for the other 4. And I was getting some weird camera lag, which eventually sorted itself out in later battles, and actually I'm pretty sure it got better here even. So, yeah. Right now the camera's aimed at the ceiling, so I'm going to have to scold the cameraman for that next time I see him. That's Malachi's brother. So, anyway, I'm going to have to yell at Malachi's brother next time I see him. So, oh, okay, here we go, back to the battle. So, I think we were just, like, taking a quick break, just, like, talking over something or something. Anyway, so he begins his turn. He plays, I believe that's an N. Yeah, that's an N. So we both have to shuffle our hands into our decks and draw cards based on the amount of prize cards that we have. So at that point, we were both ending for 6. So we will see what I get here.
But then you couldn't hurt my...
You can see Trent shuffles about the same way that I do. And, you know, he offers a cut, I offer my cut. But we decided to tap because it was just a league challenge battle. So we decided to tap so that we don't have to cut each other's decks and we can just get on with the battle. So here's that. So we both draw our hands, and we will see how well I do in the coming turn. I believe he Dragon Bursts right now for a good amount. Oh no, he retreats. And he brings up a full art gold Reshiram. It's a secret rare from the Legendary Treasure set. And I actually at one point did have the secret rare full art gold Zekrom, but I traded that to get my my Golurk, my secret rare Golurk. So that's the story behind my Golurk. Now you know. I did not pull that. I traded it. Okay, so I believe, yeah, he ends his turn. So I play an Yveltal and a Golett. I attach a Dark Energy to Yveltal. I play another Yveltal, and then I believe I Tropical Beach right then for, it was either 6 or 2. Might have even been 4. Point is, a Tropical Beach. And that ends my turn, so he begins. He retreats Reshiram, brings out Rayquaza, who has damage on him because of my Oblivion Wing attack. And I believe he Dragon Bursts here for a good 180 damage, which is actually really good. Alright, so he's drawing cards here. I forget what that's for. He attaches a Fire Energy using Inferno Fandango. And then he plays, I believe, Superior Energy Retrieval, so that he can get some energies out of his discard pile and onto Rayquaza. So Inferno Fandango, and then does another Inferno Fandango back on the bench. Draw some more cards due to the Delphox's Sacred Fire ability.
Repetition.
This deck actually gets pretty low in cards towards the end of it. If the battle drags on too long, that's probably the easiest way to beat Raybor, is just, you know, let them mill themselves out. Alright, so he Dragon Burst for 180, and I choose Yveltal as my attacker. I play Chandelure EX. Yes, that's a real Chandelure. I evolve my Golett into Golurk. And then I play Master Ball, which is, yes, I actually run Master Ball. Most people ridicule me for that, and they say it's a bad ace spec, but you know what? I like it. I've always been a fan of the Pokeball, so it works. Okay, so I am using Master Ball for, I will see. I don't actually even remember. I believe it was for a Mewtwo EX, or maybe not. Yes, it was for Mewtwo EX. So now I have a full bench. I can attach that Dark Energy from Oblivion Wing onto anybody. So I attach a Psychic Energy to Mewtwo, and I Oblivion Wing for 30, which allows me to attach a Dark Energy from my discard pile to one of my bench Pokemon, and I choose Mewtwo. I want to get that X-Ball attack ready, but I'm pretty sure that you see later on that it doesn't even matter. So if you can see it, Trent's sleeves are actually pretty cool. They're Mega Lizardon, which is the Japanese form of Mega Charizard, and they have both Mega Lizardon X and Lizardon Y. Alright, so Inferno Fandango, he's getting his Rayquaza ready for another Dragon Burst. So at the moment that I was attaching all the energies on for X-Ball, I figured that that'd be really good against a Raybor deck. But actually I realized that a deck that focuses around cards that are based on energy, like Evil Ball and X-Ball, or even Energy Crush from Team Plasma Leafeon, they don't really work this well because the cards are like always getting discarded off of the defending Pokemon. So you have to base it all on your own Pokemon, you know, plus 20 damage for the lightning energy that is a staple. So I believe now he has 3, maybe 4 energy on whatever Pokemon that is. It was a Delphox, and he used its attack to knock out my Yveltal. Okay, so I choose Mewtwo as my active. And I draw a card. And I'm organizing my hand right now. I do that. I don't know why. So I attach a Psychic Energy to Chandelure. And then X-Ball for looks like a lot. I believe I did 120 damage out of 140 that's needed to knock out that Delphox. So it was pretty good. So I still have 6 prize cards remaining. I believe Trent only has 4 at that point. He brings out, I think that's another Rayquaza. I might be wrong. No, that's Delphox. Okay, so he retreats, I think, and then brings out Rayquaza. Dragon Burst is ready to knock out pretty much anything that I have. This is one of the last turns leading up to my impending demise. So here we has Dragon Burst for a good amount of damage, knocking out my Mewtwo. I bring out Chandelure, and it is now my turn. Cameraman, come on, cameraman. I'm pretty sure he missed my turn. Point is, I end up, I believe I evolved my Giano into Azuelas, but I end up using Curse Drop to knock out Delphox and then put 2 on Rayquaza. So I did end up getting a prize card in this match. He didn't just totally defeat me. I believe this is the last turn, though. Yeah, Trent only has 2 prize cards remaining, and Chandelure EX will give him those 2 prize cards. So here, he has Dragon Burst prepared, does Dragon Burst for a good amount of damage, and he wins. So here is where I battle my own good friend Aiden Toller. He was running a Darkrai deck with a little bit of Toxicroak EX thrown in, versus my unprepared Golurk deck. It's basically just a brew of Psychic Dark. So here I'm having somebody else cameraman yet again. but I believe I remember ending up taking up the slack and recording it myself later on in the battle. So he had to mulligan because he had no basics in his hand. So I got to take an extra card. You can see my hand here, and right around that time, the cameraman said something along the lines of, "But then he can see your hand." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? That's okay." Because, we know each other's decks. We've been friends for a while. We know each other's decks, like inside and or out. We can play each other's decks to their best potential, really. So you can see he starts off with a Sableye with Darkrai and Keldeo EXs on his bench. And then he plays a Shadow Circle. Or that might have been me. I might have played Shadow Circle. And so here you can see my field because the cameraman is trying out different angles. Yeah, stop messing around with the camera, bro. Okay. So there's a Golett on the bench. Every Golett in that deck was actually reverse foil. So that's pretty cool. Oh look, there's the cameraman. How dare you show your own face? So, yeah, I believe right around here is when I begin to, cameraman for my own side of the field. And I also, attempt to turn the camera every time the turn switches, but I forget a lot, so the footage isn't that great here. Eventually, I figure out how to, get the whole field in view, but it takes me a minute. So, that's Aiden's turn. He just attaches his energy and goes on his merry way. So I draw, let's see. And the camera's still being messed with. Oh, look, you can see my laptop. Okay, then. Come on. Do something. Okay, so I attach an energy to Golett. I believe that's a dark energy, looks like. But I may be wrong. I evolve into Golurk. And then, I have an energy already on Yveltal, so I use Oblivion Ring for 30 and end my turn, and then that's when it passes to Aiden, but I believe I forgot to turn the camera here, so, yeah, so it comes back to my turn. I attach Psychic Energy to Golurk, and now he's ready to use his first attack, Iron Fist of Justice, which does 60 damage, and if you have a Team Plasma Pokemon in play, then it does nothing. So then I Oblivion Wing for 30, and yeah. So he does his turn. By now, Aiden wasn't really getting very good hands. He was pretty much a dead drawing. I had ended up getting a knockout with my attack. So I took a prize card, you can see, and then he draws his card. Actually, that's a Veerbank City Gym. Sorry for the confusion. That's not a Shadow Circle, though. That's a Veerbank City Gym. Alright, so I finally get to turn the camera to see his side of the field. So now he has a Mr. Mime on the bench, which prevents his bench from being damaged by any attacks. He has a Darkrai EX on the bench, and also in his active Pokemon slot, and a Keldeo EX ready to heal any sort of status condition that I may cause. So back to my turn. I draw a card with another Golett on the bench. It's really important to get the Golurks out because they're one of the main hitters in the deck. You also see back here I have an NK with the ability Upside Down Evolution. That's also a very good Pokemon to start with. You can get both confused, and then you can do the Panic Wave strategy, which essentially you just use Confusion Wave, and then next turn, as long as you're still alive, you use your ability to search for the Malamar with Mental Panic, use Mental Panic, and that way they have to flip twice and get heads twice in a row to attack. Plus you're doing 30 per turn without a muscle band, so that's pretty good.
So I quite honestly think you should run these Yveltal.
Alright, so he attaches a muscle band to his Darkrai on the bench, which I've seen him do a lot. It helps him weed out some of the Pokemon that are 100 HP plus. So that'll do 110 damage instead of 90 for my Night Spirit, plus still doing 30 damage to the bench, so that's actually pretty good. So that looks like a Sableye put onto the bench. He retreats Darkrai, I think, it looks like. Looks like he's retreating Darkrai. Or he might be playing Dark Patch. Alright, goes to my turn nevertheless. I forget what he's doing there. He might have just moved his active over. I attach another energy to Golurk, which means only one more energy, and I'll be able to use his attack Shadow Punch, which does 80 damage, and it's not affected by resistance, which is really good. So that goes back over to Aiden. Yeah, it looks like he just moved his active Pokemon over, but I don't know if a judge will like get mad at him for it, because Pokemon has really weird rules regarding that. Okay, so he attaches and retreats, and due to the ability, he doesn't have to pay retreat cost. By now, Aiden is kind of, just aggravated, so he's got his Sableye ready for Confuse Ray and Junk Hunt, which I believe he does. But right there, I believe he's using Professor Juniper, which just lets him discard his hand and then draw 7 cards, which is pretty good if you need a new hand. Alright, so here, yeah, he uses Junk Hunt, and I come back to me. So I believe I keep the camera this way for a while, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on, but yeah. So, this is during my turn. I have a Chandelure EX on the bench, and I just used Oblivion Wing for 30. I don't believe there's any Dark Energy in my discard pile at the time, so it doesn't really matter. He attaches an energy to his Darkrai, and then uses another Professor Juniper to get 7 cards again. And that is what he's doing now. So that's looks like he's playing Hypnotoxic Laser, which poisons me, but it doesn't put me to sleep. And because of the Veerbank City Gym, which is the stadium, it's doing 30 damage to me between turns because of poison instead of just 10. Which, is actually, it's pretty good if you use that in conjunction with, like, Toxicroak EX's triple poison. It does 50 between turns. There's a Crobat that does quadruple poison. There's some that do double poison. It's pretty crazy. So, there's a lot of cards that can constitute a really good poison deck. Plus, just the Hypnotoxic Laser, guaranteed poison, possible sleep. He's flipping, I believe, for Confuse Ray, and I'm not confused, but it still does 10 damage to me. So now I have 40 damage on Yveltal. I evolve another Golett. And then, let's see what I do. It's kind of weird saying that. I was going like, I don't know what I did. Let's see what I do. Alright, so looks like I use Oblivion Wing, which does 30 damage to me because of poison, plus 30 damage to Sableye because of the attack's damage. So Sableye, if he keeps it out, only has 1 turn left, and then I can Oblivion Wing to knock it out and leave myself with only 100 HP, or 100 HP gone, so only 30 HP remaining, which means that at the end of my turn, if I don't retreat, Yveltal is knocked out.
Toxicroak to Darkrai.
Dark Energy to Darkrai. Play Toxicroak.
Okay.
Not sure what I do there.
6, that becomes... So he's 70 right now. That becomes 80. Poison makes it...
So, he is currently using, I believe, Junk Hunt to get more item cards back into his hand that he needs. Or maybe he was using Confuse Ray. He was using something, okay? He's Confuse Ray. I end up being confused and taking a lot of damage between turns. So I'm in like a really bad condition right now. I believe that leaves me with 110, plus I have to flip between turns for certain things. Or not between turns, but, whatever. So I flip to see if I can attack. I get a Tails, and that knocks me out because I take 30 damage due to confusion. So, I'm knocked out now. My Yveltal is knocked out. But I didn't get to knock out the Sableye, which was kind of dispiriting. So, he Junipers for 7. I believe he plays Pokemon Catcher, but fails Pokemon Catcher. And now he's ready to use his attacks, but I have Golurk sent out, which means that I can do 60 now. If I get another energy, I can do 80, which is pretty awesome. Plus the Secret Rare version also does 60 and 90 for pretty much the same energy costs. The 60 takes 1 more energy, but the 90 still takes 4. They both have retreat cost of 4, which is why I have 2 escape ropes in my deck, which will get my active out of the slot and kind of mess up their plans. So he's a Toxicroak EX on the bench, using the Hypnotoxic Laser, and I am not asleep, I don't think. Anyway, he retreats, he brings out Darkrai, and then...
I just now realized I Night Spirit for 220 damage.
It's pretty good.
How is that possible?
So, yes, Sableye, he's just readjusting his Sableye on the bench. Plus, he has his Keldeo, his Toxicroak, his Mr. Mime protecting his bench. His Keldeo is a healer. I have a Deino now on my bench, and that looks like... that's a 3rd Golett, so that's probably the most Goletts that have actually appeared in one game, with that deck. So I've never had 4 Golurks or Goletts on the field. So I Confusion Wave, and both of us are confused. But then he uses Keldeo's ability to rush in, and then he attaches a Dark Energy to Keldeo to retreat him, so that heals Darkrai of any confusion, which kind of sucks, which means that now he can Night Spirit for 110 and kind of mess up my Panic Wave strategy.
110, 30?
You're confused.
So he does that, and he finally takes a prize card, and the game begins to turn around for him. The game begins to get better. He is beginning to draw better cards. He's getting more cards into his hand. The flow of cards is just essentially getting better for him. So he is shuffling his deck. I believe I played N, so we both had to shuffle our hands into our decks and draw based on our prize cards. I was taking 5. I believe he was also taking 5.
I'm confused. Rush in for your turn.
So I did that, and then
Wait, you
I
in between turns for the first turn.
used an attack, but I still can't figure out what it was.
Turned
I don't
and
remember.
confused.
Well, whatever. When we see my active Pokemon slot, we'll know what it is.
If I get heads,
Unless it gets knocked out, which is entirely possible. Because a lot of the Pokemon in my deck are weak to Dark, which is the main type in his deck.
I already drew for my turn.
So he flipped for something, and then he readjusts his Darkrai.
I'm gonna play Dark
He's
Patch.
now going through his discard pile, I believe due to the effects of Dark Patch. Yeah. Alright, so Dark Patch, he gets to search his discard pile for a Dark Energy and attach it to one of his benched Pokemon. That's the main way he gets energy out, so that he can start attaching more than 1 energy per turn.
30 on.
Darkrai is actually a very popular deck.
Oh, my bad.
A lot of people play it. It's very playable, and the ability of Darkrai just makes it crazy. A lot of people use the Keldeo EX in their decks, not as an attacker in most cases, but just as a healer, so that they attach a Float Stone to him, which eliminates his retreat cost. So you can just use his ability to rush in, and then Float Stone to bring him back, and that heals the confusion or whatever status effect. Plus, that can also get pretty much any Pokemon you need out into the active Pokemon slot for their attacks.
Muscle Band, I guess.
So here he's gearing up to do more attacks, more damage, and start getting his last few prize cards. I believe he has 3 at this point. So he needs to knock out a Mewtwo, and I think I bring out Chandelure. He rolls for Pokemon Catcher. He fails Pokemon Catcher. He attaches a Dark Energy to Darkrai EX, and then passes the turn. Or no, he uses Night Spear, and then chooses which 30 to use, where to put the 30 from Night Spear. And right then we were debating which Golurk to put it on.
Draw card.
So turn is to him. I just attached an energy
I don't think
and
there's any more.
passed because I really couldn't do anything. I couldn't attack or anything like that. So I believe he's getting ready to do his last turn right about now, and he runs out of cards. But it's fine because he just knocks me out here
Dark Energy to Dark
and wins.
Free retreat. This Darkrai is getting his karma.
So he retreats,
Night Spear
brings
90, 30,
out
knocking out Mewtwo.
another Darkrai EX. This one also with a Muscle Band. This one, though, has more damage on him, and he says it was for revenge. He is readjusting his bench at this point. Or no, he's not. Okay, he used the attack, he won, and ended the
You
game.
had to play that red card. And then I got that N, and I played N on that card.
So here's round 3. I'm currently battling a girl who did not want her name, to be put in the video, but she didn't mind if I just recorded the cards. I apologize in advance for the sideways camera angle, but at least you can see more of the field this way, and I don't have to move it around. It's not as shaky and all that. So she doesn't allow me to roll my giant 12-sided die for the beginning. She's very by the book. I know this girl too. She's also a very popular Worlds player. And she'd actually gone to so many league challenges that she wasn't allowed to gain points for them anymore, like player points. She'd actually maxed out her league challenge point limit. And she got no basics, so she allowed me to take another card from Mulligan. And I learned, like, I don't know, even 3 different rules in this game alone. So you learn something new every time you play this girl. I'm going to try so hard not to say her name, and if I do, then, don't stalk her. I'll just try not to. Anyway, so she's also playing a Raybor deck that was actually built mostly by Trent Ordnoff, who I played in the first round, if you remember, like half an hour ago. I just realized that this video is freaking long. Alright, so this is the 3rd round, and after the 3rd round, they allowed the players about a 45-minute break after the round officially ended to, Okay, so she's still getting ready, so she's like, put your card down. Okay, here we go, and we start. So, right now, it's Rayquaza versus Inkay. And this is not a Rayquaza EX, but it's just a Rayquaza, it's actually shiny, so it's secret rare. And this one is Dragon type, it has fire and electric type requirements. So that's that. I'm gonna go full screen on my narration window. Awesome. Okay, so she's currently looking through her deck due to the effects of the card she played. I do not remember what it was for the life of me. Okay, so she takes a card, Tropical Beach, plays it as a stadium. And this is a different looking Tropical Beach. There's a few different arts. The most popular one has like Tepig and Oshawott and all them. But this is a different form of it that, doesn't have Tepig and Oshawott and the Gen 5 starters, as well as Pikachu. So this one's slightly different, but it's still a pretty cool art. Point is, you still won it at friggin' Worlds. Funny story on Tropical Beach, actually. Miles, who I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, actually wanted me to have to pay to borrow his copy of Tropical Beach for the deck that I was supposed to play. I'm like, dude, you're out of your mind. He wanted $5 to $10 to borrow this card, which is a very expensive card, but I'm like, okay, I go to your league every Wednesday, and I'm right here, and you are right over there. I'm at table 10, literally 5 feet away from you almost every single time I play. Bro, get over it. But he wouldn't let me. I mean, it's okay, because, yeah. But last Wednesday, when I had originally asked him, I actually had battled him and won. And so I leave, and I'm like, you know what? I should have asked, if I win this battle, can I borrow Tropical Beach for free? But I didn't. So, yeah. So I use Confusion Wave. Both actives are not confused. I don't believe that stops Rayquaza at all, though. So there's a judge standing behind. You can see Kyle over there. That's the name of the judge. I'm not going to look at his last name because I don't know, but point is, it's judge. So she's shuffling the deck. She's wearing bracelets and a yellow Pikachu hoodie. You can see my battered deck box back in the background. That box has been through like a lot. Alright, so I cut her deck, and then she cuts mine. I believe she played an N, so we both had to get new hands. Yeah, she plays an N. Looks like 4, 5, 5? No, she must have played 6. Okay. So I put that down, and she does whatever, and then after that I believe it's my turn. There's a Golett on my bench, in case you can't see it very well. There's a Golett on my bench, and I believe it's my turn in just a moment. She's like attaching energy to her bench Pokemon and such, but I don't know how she's doing that. She's doing something, okay? So, we will see here exactly what happens. I believe she's just like looking at her hand and making sure that she's done all she can possibly do. which is something I should probably start doing, because like all the time I forget to evolve my Pokemon at the ends of my turn before I attack, and that can really mess up your day. She plays a card, allows her to search her deck for a card, and she takes a card. I'm not entirely sure what that card was. I believe it was something along the lines of computer search, and her deck is losing cards. So she shuffles similar to the way I do, and yet not very at all, because she kind of just like jams her sleeves down, and then, yeah. But I am a little bit more reserved with my sleeving. Of course, she probably has like billions of sleeves to her name, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so I begin my turn. I play Mewtwo, and I believe a Deino. I readjust the fork to my desk. Okay, so I'm currently looking through my deck due to any one card. I don't even know what it is. I used Upside Down Evolution. That's what I did. Okay, so she does allow me to get my Malamar out. Oh, so it looks like that wasn't her first turn last turn. But I used Mental Panic, so I actually managed to do the Panic Wave strategy on her. So her Rayquaza needs to flip twice to attack, plus it's taking 30 every turn, so that's pretty good. I think I was also preparing a Malamar for Puncture, but I don't know if I was or not, I don't remember. So later on, I ended up playing a bench Pokemon behind, like, using my usual setup, which is in, like, the pentagram kind of formation, or pentagon, not pentagram. And she's like, no, the legal rules say that you actually have to put them in a line. I'm like, dude, whatever. So that's one of the rules I learned. I also learned that if you have to take a card from Mulligan, then you have to take it after the prize card, after you put down your prizes, which was also very new to me, but yeah, whatever. So, okay, she's doing that. It's funny that she says that about the like line bench thing, because I was doing the exact same formation when I went to States, and they didn't say a single thing about it. So, yeah. So she drew cards, doing what she was doing. I believe she played Juniper. She's looking through a discard pile, doing something with her bench. Not entirely sure what she's doing, because, you know, this camera angle isn't really that great. So, yeah. So, I believe that's when she told me about the bench thing. So I've realized, and this battle kind of made me realize it, that when you're playing Pokemon, a lot of people aren't open to joking. I don't know why that is, but I don't like it, because like that's pretty much all I do. My whole entire day is just joke after joke after joke. I'm a very light person, I think. Shut up. And you know, when people are all, you know, just being like grim and like, no joking, I'm like, dude, bro, really? But, you know, they just kind of don't care. You have to like directly say something to them, or else they don't even notice. It might be they're like in like a try hard mode kind of thing, but I doubt it. They're probably just like, shut up, boy. I'm trying to be mean and grim and grouchy. You know, so yeah. A couple people are pretty okay though. Like when I played Aiden, we joked around a lot. So she's shuffling her deck. I keep on looking away from the screen, so I don't know what's happening. I'm being very not good at commentating right now. Alright, so there she goes, doing that. I believe she played an N, actually. So I cut her, she got mine. Yeah, it looks like an N. So I've still been doing Mental Panic to her Rayquaza each turn, but my turns are few and far between, so her turns kind of do the whole never-ending turn kind of thing, which is irritating to most people, but you know, whatever. Whatever floats your boat, really. I don't care. So she's doing what she's doing right now. Alright, so I mental panicked, and she drew a card for her turn. Although I don't know why she's not putting the damage onto Rayquaza. She might just do that later. Alright, so I drew based on something or other. Played a card. Looks like Yveltal onto the bench, and then I evolve a Golurk. I evolve something over there, probably also a Golurk. Maybe an Inkay, who knows. I attached to Yveltal, probably a Dark Energy. Attaching anything else would be just stupid. And then she draws.
Probably, but maybe. We shall see.
So her Rayquaza is about to be knocked out. It has like one turn left. I believe she does end up saving it though. From what I remember, she does actually save it. So she plays Ultra Ball, discards a couple cards, but I didn't get to see what those were. I just knew that 3 cards went into her discard pile, one of them being Ultra Ball and 2 being whatever else from her hand. So, like, you know what? You discarded 2 cards. Good for you. So she's doing what she's doing. I decide not to cut the deck. She's doing what she's doing. She is currently playing a card. Keep on saying that, but I don't know what she's playing. I can't recognize the card. So this battle was over 20 minutes long. It was actually the longest battle I'd ever played that day, which is pretty surprising considering it was against a Worlds player. I figured she'd sweep me instantly, knowing this girl. Actually, my round 5 battle might have been around the same time too. So she played a card to allow her to search her deck for a card.
Last turn, Dragon Burst.
I don't see her doing really anything. Alright, she retreats her Rayquaza and then brings out Tepig, which is pretty much just sacrificial bacon, which is actually exactly what we say. So, you know, she's like sacrificial bacon, and I'm like pre-cooked. In case you couldn't hear the joke over my commentary. So, around this time, I believe, is when the game begins to take a turn for the worse for me. Because at that point, I pretty much had a trump, but not really anymore. So I have a couple energy now on my Mewtwo, but that doesn't really do me much good, considering that X-Ball against Raybor is just an unfavorable matchup. You know, it's like X-Ball one turn, but you're relying on your own energy, and then Raybor the next turn is relying on its own energy, but that's all it needs to rely on, is doing tons more than X-Ball does. So, I think if they'd have made X-Ball 30 times, then it would have been a lot better of a move. And, you know, not that overpowered, maybe a little overpowered, but it would have made a lot of more people want that Mewtwo EX. So, probably would have been a pretty good sales pitch. And anybody who got it would be frickin' sweeping. So I still have my Mental Panic Malamar ready, but she's doing her turn. I believe it's almost over. I think the judge just walks over and says hi, and then, you know, the girl, being as she's well known and all, says hi back. And yeah, Aiden had actually beaten her in the first round. He beat her deck because she got a very bad starting hand, is what I heard. And in, you know, Darkrai versus Raybor, it's pretty good. It's a pretty fun matchup. Raywar's really good, Darkrai's really good, so that's how the world works. She attaches an energy, I believe, and then she allows me to take my turn, finally. So she has an energy on her type pig. I'm not entirely sure what that's for, but I play, I think, Master Ball, that looks like. Yeah, it looks like Master Ball. To search my deck for any one card, or any one Pokemon, and put it into my hand to shuffle afterwards. A lot of people say the Master Ball is really bad, but like I said earlier, I don't think it is. It's actually, I think it's really good, and it works in a lot of strategies. You know, like, it's a good replacement for Pokeball. Plus, if you need 5 Pokeballs or another Ultra Ball or anything, really, it's good. You know, just search for any Pokemon, no strings attached. She cuts the deck. I don't know why she's being so grim and so serious, but I guess to be a good Pokemon player, you have to take everything serious. At least, I think that's what happens. Aiden, Malachi, and I all noticed that, a lot of the more advanced players, they kind of just, like, slam their cards on the table. Makes them look more expert-y, I guess. So, yeah. So, you may remember from the beginning of the video, there was a guest star kind of guy, and he was saying stuff about Charizard going all the way. Turns out he was actually playing a Charizard deck that day. After, I think, round 2, I went and spectated his battle. And he was playing Charizard EX with the Dragon-type Mega Charizard, I believe. Or he might have been using the Fire-type Mega Charizard, but I believe he was using the Dragon-type. So, that's that. Okay, so here we see Malachi's brother in the background looking through cards that are free cards. And actually, I believe he was building a deck at that point out of free cards, which is pretty cool. Kind of felt bad for him, though, because it wasn't that great of a deck. Okay, so here's an N. That probably saved me at that point, because I remember right around there not getting a very good hand. I just have so much energy built up onto Mewtwo, it's not even funny. And I cut hers, at the same time she's cutting mine. She's typically pretty averted to that, but I'm like, you know what, screw you. You're beating me anyway. So there's energy on my Yveltal, tons of energy on Mewtwo, enough energy to panic for Malamar. Alright, now we see the Rayquaza EX ready to Dragon Burst, which it does, and finally she takes a prize. I choose Mewtwo, and like right after I sent out Mewtwo, I'm like, you know what, it's not a good idea to send out Mewtwo, bro, don't do it, but I did it. And I kind of felt dumb for it. So I flipped a coin for Pokeball. I got to search my deck for any card, or any Pokemon, and put it into my hand. She cuts the deck. I don't remember what I took. And then I believe I play another Pokeball, and I got Tails. So, play a Pokemans. Looks like Chandelure EX from here, but I can't tell because my camera's blurry. I attach yet another energy to Mewtwo. And then I X-Ball for a lot. I believe it was 120. I thought it would be a lot more. It looked like a lot more, and then it wasn't a lot more. Now, if it was Evil Ball instead of X-Ball, I would have done 140. It would have been even better, but, you know, I can live with 120. As long as I survive for another turn, which I don't expect to do, you know, it's fine. So if you get Raybor set up, it's actually pretty good for flawless victories, you know, in that, you know, you never take damage. I've actually only ever done that once. It was against a very inexperienced player. I only ever got a flawless victory one time, and, you know, they're pretty hard to come by. So, I felt pretty proud. Alright, so it looks like the battle's finally winding down to a close. Looking at the time I have left on the video, there's only about, I don't even know, like 3 or 4 minutes left, looks like. Yeah, looks like only about 3 or 4 minutes. Alright, so I choose Yveltal. That was probably a good idea in the beginning, but I hadn't done it yet. So, but now she's taking 3 prize cards. She's getting ready to wind the battle down. I Oblivion Wing for 30 and begin to get my Pokemon ready. Though what good it does me, I don't even think it does any. So, Rayquaza has 150 damage on it, and Yveltal has 0 damage on it, 130 health remaining. Inferno Fandango and Muscle Band, which is going to do exactly 140 damage. So it's just a tiny little bit more overkill. Unnecessary, really. So she does that. She has to discard her energies. I choose Chandelure EX, which was actually probably a pretty big misplay. I could have gotten the Rayquaza, and I didn't. So here I choose Curse Drop, and I do 20 damage onto Rayquaza, and another 20 on, I believe, Tepig. So I get really close to getting 3 prize cards, and I'm going to take 2. So here she chooses another Rayquaza. She just needs that lightning energy to just kind of end the game. And she's actually got a pretty low deck, so I was thinking at that point, hey man, if I can, get out of this, the only way I'm going to do it is through her decking out. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. She ends up getting her last 2 prize cards after knocking out Chandelure, because as you can see, she has lightning energy on Rayquaza, as well as, it looks like a fire energy. So she uses Superior Energy Retrieval to search her discard pile for 4 different energies and put them into her hand. They don't have to be different. I worded that wrong. And yeah, so there we go. She's just attaching tons of energy. I believe she's using like Professor's Letters and Superior Energy Retrievals and all that, and just using Inferno Fandango to get it all on to do just tons and tons of damage. It's really unnecessary, man. Okay? You didn't even do that. But she chose to. Yep. So, the battle is coming to an end. She just gets ready, attaches energies even more. And looks like just around here is a Dragon Burst. Yep, there's a Dragon Burst. Just major knockout for, I believe it was 360? Yeah, it was 360 damage, total freaking board wipe. And that concluded the game. You know what? I got 2 prize cards. I'm happy. Good job. Thank you. Yeah. Alright, see you guys in round 4. Alright, and this is round 4 after the gigantic break for lunch, in which I play my friend Malachi Sparks, who I didn't really expect to win against. He's a very good player. He ends up getting a hand that he has to mulligan with, and he's actually currently playing a deck with Deluge Blastoise and Mega Blastoise, and that's like really centers around. And I was actually being kind of mean to it, but it eventually, pulled through. Alright, so I'm currently messing with the camera. So here's also a pretty long battle. I lasted a while, so, I was okay with it. Alright, so Keldeo EX was his Pokemon, and I chose Golett. He attaches Floatstone to Keldeo so that he has its medic already. Since he doesn't run Darkrai in this deck, he doesn't, have to just use a Dark Energy. He can instead use a Floatstone and get it in and out right quick. And since I don't have a Darkrai EX in my deck, which would have been nice, I had to use Escape Ropes instead. So everyone has their own little free retreat ways, I play Master Ball and play Yveltal. And I believe it was around that time where I said Baster Maul. I attach a Dark Energy to Yveltal. I play Shadow Circle, which it actually was a pretty good starting hand. I flipped for Pokeball, and I failed. I adjust the camera yet again for some unknown reason. So, around here is the time where I realize, man, this camera's being mean to me. I have to like totally readjust it. And it was actually good though, because around that same time I had to get out my dice from my bag pocket. So it was okay, I guess. It worked. But, you know, we ended up with yet another sideways camera angle. So, kind of sucks. You can't see Malachi's deck or discard pile. So, you know, you won't have a very complete recount of what he was doing. He was just then, I believe, playing Juniper, actually. He played a Blastoise EX and a Duskull onto the bench. I played Deino to the bench. And then, I believe I was getting an energy ready. Yeah, I attached an energy to a Voltal. And then I passed, I believe. Okay, so right around now, Malachi's brother comes by, sees the battle, and he's like, "Who's winning?" I'm like, "Well, right now we're tied." And he's like, "No, no," and I'm like, "Yeah, no. In the way of prize cards, we're tied." He's kind of cool, but he's really rather conceited. So you know, yeah. So right around now is when he begins to power up his Blastoise, and that, you know, all that jazz. So I begin my turn, and then I evolve my Deino and my Golett. Attach an energy to the Golurk, and I allow him to begin his turn. So he draws. He has another Duskull on the bench now. He plays a card to look through his deck. And he's doing what he's doing. So he began to evolve his Pokemon. He actually used a rare candy to evolve his Duskull right into a Dusknoir. Happens to be secret rare. It's actually pretty cool. But I think it's getting outdated. So he's doing what he's doing. He attaches an energy again to Blastoise. I believe in the back of his bench he's also getting Squirtle ready to evolve into Blastoise for Deluge, which will be nice. Deluge, if you don't know, allows you to attach unlimited water energy in your turn, and it's actually pretty nice. You know, it goes into most water decks, because most water decks are centered around Keldeo EX, so you can just attach tons and tons of water energy onto Keldeo and just annihilate. But Keldeo is, you know, a 170 EX, which in Malachi's eyes is not a good thing, but whatever. You know, it has 170, so it's easier to knock out than a 180. The 180s are also typically pretty much, you know, more intimidating, so yeah. I actually ended up playing a deck in 5th round, so the next battle, that centered around a 180 health EX, which was Black Karam EX. You know, and its Black Ballista attack, which actually did have a Deluge Blastoise. So the second 2 games I played, were both centered around EXs getting energy from Blastoise. And that was actually, interestingly enough, the point of the deck that I was supposed to play. You know, just Deluge onto Mega Blastoise. That's why I was doing it. But, you know, that didn't work out, to say the least. So, he has a Squirtle on his bench now, and he is retreating, and he's bringing out a different Keldeo, one that, you know, has no damage on it, because I had been steadily doing damage with Golurk. So I was actually getting pretty lucky with the energies this turn, so I just didn't attach anything except maybe to the bench. I just attacked. You can see how the dice was, like, he already had the dice ready. This game really isn't much to comment on. It was just pretty straightforward. He has energy now on Blastoise. It's already, you know, it's all megaed up. He played a Magnetic Storm, which eliminates any resistance from either side of the field. And also got rid of my no weakness thing, so yeah, it kind of sucks. He switches out Keldeo for Blastoise, and he gets ready to Hydro Bombard. Hatches a Muscle Band, does all the damage that he needs, does damage to both Yveltal, but I get ready right back, and, you know, I play Escape Ropes and all that. So here we go. Right, my turn after getting Golurk knocked out. I have another Yveltal ready, so I can cycle between the three. So, back there, or maybe that's not an Yveltal. Looks like an Yveltal. I believe it's an Yveltal. So I play Escape Rope, and he has to switch out first. So he switches his Blastoise for Duskull, and then I switch my Yveltal out for, yep, that is an Yveltal. So I've got Yveltal, Deino, Yveltal. It's kind of crazy, actually. But I believe that's when I look through my discard pile to see if there's any dark energy to it, and then I Oblivion Wing for 30, which does actually 60 due to Duskull's weakness. He brings out Blastoise, perfectly fine. I'll get it to be not there after a while, so yeah. This game is actually incredibly boring. So, Yveltal, Zweilous, Yveltal. He searched his deck, or shuffled it, and cut. Really nothing special. He has his Blastoise all prepared, and he uses that Hydro Bombard for 140 plus 30 to both Yveltals. Surprised he hasn't begun to focus on Zweilous by now. He should have, because he could have won the game that much faster. By now he could have had Zweilous knocked out. You can see Inkay down there, and Inkay is when I start to get actually kind of, you know, just start bringing Blastoise, you know, just in and out of focus. I Escape Rope, and he decides to bring up his Wartortle, which I prepare to knock out. I search my discard pile, and it looks like, yes, there are dark energies, so I Oblivion Wing for 30. And then I attach the dark energy to the Inkay that's on the bench. That Inkay is the ability Inkay, which will be nice because I'll be able to confuse the opponent and hope to God that they can't, attack. So I'll be able to stop that Blastoise. It'll be able to heal itself, though, with the Russian Floatstone thing. Currently stretching. So he rushes in with Russian, looks like. Yeah, okay. I flip for Pokeball, and I get heads on it, so I'm able to search my deck for a Pokemon, put it into my hand, and then do that. So I end up getting Hydreigon out. I was speculating for a minute on whether or not I should use Dark Trance to move around any energy to get it where I need to be, but I really had no need for that. Although I was thinking, at the time, I could have used Dark Trance twice to move the energy from Yveltal to the other Yveltal, so from bench to active, and then use the Darkness Blade attack for 100. So, Wartortle, and then I do the damage, and he is just getting ready to retreat the Wartortle. I believe he already has his Deluge out and ready, somewhere on the bench there. So he attaches another Water Energy to Keldeo, and switches him out. And he gets ready to Secret Sword for knockout. Alright, so the Muscle Band manages to get the energy. And then I send out young Inkay to do my bidding. Alright, so Confusion Wave. He retreats to heal himself of the confusion. It's kind of funny when a Keldeo has to retreat itself to heal itself, when in reality it's almost always used as just a medic. Which is why it's a good idea to be able to knock out bench Pokemon and poison decks, so that they can't heal themselves of their ailments. The poison and such, So, here is when he does muchas damage, and then gets a double knockout using the effect of Hydro Bombard, which does damage to the bench as well. Knocks out my prepared Yveltal, knocks out my Inkay. He's only got, I think, one prize left. Yep, looks like only one prize. And he does damage and wins. So that was the end of that game.
I'm so hungry.
So much damage on the board.
When I get home, I'm probably gonna
It'll probably make us sort.
AK ramen noodles probably. You got macaroni? I make that. I like macaroni.
I believed in myself. That's all that you have to do. Yeah, we do.
I'm cooking me some macaroni.
So, right about here is the beginning of round 5, and I actually didn't even know this dude's name. But this is the dude I was talking about with the Black Kyurem EX deck versus my still unprepared Golurk Brew. So, he uses Deluge and Black Ballista to do tons of damage, and, you know, go in for the knockout. It's pretty good, actually, because in most cases, only Pokemon like, you know, Mega EXs can stand that. And actually, I believe every Mega EX that is currently existing, so this is only XY and Flashfire, is, can withstand a Black Ballista. Because Venusaur and Blastoise are both weak to grass and, or fire and grass. And then Mega Kangaskhan is weak to fighting. Charizard Y is weak to water, and Charizard X is weak to fairy. Unless Charizard X is weak to dragon for some reason, then every Mega Pokemon can withstand a Black Ballista. And it'll probably be that way for a good while. Because pretty much only Dragon is weak to dragon. So, here we go. Right off the bat, he has his Black Kyurem and his Squirtle versus my Mewtwo. Alright, and he starts his game off with a random receiver, which allows him to flip cards until he comes across a supporter. And then there's his N right there. I don't think he plays that, though. I'm pretty sure at that point I was just praying to God that he didn't play the N, because I had a really good starting hand. So, he puts the N in his hand. Thankfully, he doesn't play it. He attaches a water energy to Kyurem, and he passes the turn. Looks like. No, he does not yet. I believe he's shuffling, actually. Looks like he's shuffling. Yep, looks like it. Yep, he offers a cut. I don't remember what he was shuffling for exactly, but he probably played something along the lines of Pokeball or something that allows him to search his deck. That'd pretty much be the only reason. Or something that says to shuffle things in. But okay, so I start my turn off right away with an X-Ball. Or start my turn off right away with an attachment, and then I Escape Rope, and then I X-Ball for 40 instead of 60 because the opposing Pokemon does not have any energy and I only had 2. So I X-Ball for 40, not knocking out the Squirtle quite yet. But nevertheless, 'twas an Escape Rope, and I got damage out of Squirtle. That could potentially be my downfall. It's amazing how even the little tiny turtle can grow up to be a Deluge Blastoise that can totally screw you over. Alright, so he uses Ultra Ball to get rid of, I think, a Super Rod and a Tool Scrapper. It's either Super Rod or Bicycle. I tap to refuse the cut. He plays N, which is okay because I already played all of the trainers that I needed to play. And that was like the only reason I didn't want him to, you know, use his N. So we offer each other a cut, we both cut, and then we deal our cards. Neither of us have gotten a knockout, so because of N, we're both taking 6 out of the deck, and, you know, getting our hands ready to be amazing, or potentially crappy. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure at that point I got all energy. I got 3 Psychic and 3 Dark, it looks like. I think I remember that being the case. I think I remember like going from a really good hand to a really bad hand that can only fit in with the X-Ball Mewtwo, which is actually, coincidentally, and good, what I had. So, I attach and then X-Ball for the knockouts. So I actually got the first prize card in that game, which I felt pretty good about. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a pretty good win this game, especially when he brings out his Voltorb, which I can still knock out in 1 hit. But then, you know, that didn't end up working out. Okay, so Skyla, to search for a trainer card in his deck, I'm not entirely sure what he chooses. So he shuffles his hand. Or he doesn't shuffle his hand, sorry. He shuffles the deck, adds the card that he took into his hand, and then he attaches Yet and Neuther energy to Black Karen. So at that point I was figuring, you know what, I should probably leave the Voltorb alone, because if I knock it out then he's going to bring out Black Karen. But I felt like I didn't really have that much of a choice, because it had a retreat cost of 1, so he's probably going to get it out anyway. And then Black Wizard that way. So I'm like, you know what, I think I'll just go down and take the prize card with it.
X-Ball 460.
So that's what ended up happening. Or no, I escape roped. That's what it was. I played another escape rope, and then, yeah. Alright, so he plays Shauna. No, I didn't escape rope. Okay. I did X-Ball for the knockout, so, yeah. Alright, so, cut the deck after he Shauna's. So now he gets to draw 5 cards. Because of Shauna, it's just a card that allows you to get a new hand without discarding any cards except for Shauna itself. So, there's that. And he plays a Pokemon down. And I believe he rare candies into Blastoise at that point, so now he has his Deluge set up. So he can Black Ballista, which he does. And that takes away my Mewtwo. But that means he also has to discard 3 energy. That's actually kind of crazy. But energy retrievals and superior energy retrievals can get those back pretty quickly and into your hand. So you can deluge them right back on, which is pretty nice. So he brings out a Squirtle. Honestly, in this game, he probably could have been taking a pretty nice advantage of that Shell Shield ability. But he didn't end up getting the chance.
Oh, it's best out of 3 for this match. Cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
Alright, so he plays Ultra Ball, discarding an Electrode. I kind of felt bad after that because I knocked out the Voltorb. And a Rare Candy to get Keldeo EX. You can see it back there on the bench. And then he discards those cards, offering me the cut. I cut. I was thinking I wouldn't be cutting that much in that game, if at all, but I ended up cutting a lot more than I was tapping. So in this round, I remember Malachi and Aiden were actually playing each other, which is pretty crazy because they both had 2-win, 2-loss record. So they were playing each other, and then Malachi ended up winning that battle. So he scored higher than Aiden at the end. Aiden scored higher than moi, and I scored higher than no one at all, like in the entire tournament. And they were mixing age groups too. They weren't like segregated between junior, senior, master. No, they were mixing all the age groups because if they didn't, then both groups would have a bye round. So they would just start getting 3 wins. And they're like, you know what, we'll just mix them. It's a lot more fun anyway. So he plays Spirit Energy Retrieval, discarding an Ultra Ball, and that's a Blastoise with Deluge. It's the Boundaries Cross version. And I actually like the art on that one a lot more. But, I mean, the Plasma Blastoise is pretty cool, but I think I like the Boundaries Crossed art more. Right, so he retreats his Squirtle and brings out his Keldeo. And then I choose to bring out Deino.
Shadow Circle?
I play Shadow Circle, although it wasn't going to do any good for me. I wasn't weak to any Pokemon on his field. Or in his deck, really. Except maybe the Electrode versus Yveltal matchup.
Would you mind if I just roll this? Go ahead. The Paralyze?
Other than that, though, I was just home free with weakness and resistance. It was perfectly ignored. So, I ended up using Deino's Deep Growl, which is the first time I'd ever attacked with a Deino, in order to paralyze Keldeo. Basically, it's just flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is paralyzed. And so I managed to get heads on that. and he takes his turn, and I actually show the bench real quick, so I have a Golett with 2 energies on it, versus his Keldeo, and Black Kyurem, and Blastoise, and Squirtle. So I believe that's an N that he's playing, down there to the side. Yep, that's an N, so we cut each other's decks, and then he'll be drawing, looks like, so here's 3 or 4 cards, and I'll be drawing, I believe, 4 as well. So it's basically like a red card for the both of us. Because he knocked out my Mewtwo, but I don't think he knocked out anything else, when I think about it. So if you look back there on the bench, you can see that the Black Kyurem is just totally getting amped up, tons of energy, so that he can just Black Ballista twice in a row and just not even have to worry about a thing. But for now, Keldeo's paralyzed, and when Keldeo becomes unparalyzed, then it will be my turn. The thing about paralysis is that it's no good for the attack Hex on the Team Plasma Giratina. You know, which is kind of saddening, but whatever. Okay, so he passes the turn, because he can't attack, can't retreat, can't really do anything.
NK. What? Which Pokemon? NK. NK? NK. Oh, Entei.
And then he's doing what he's doing. Or I'm doing what I'm doing.
NK. Here.
So I draw.
Oh,
I believe around this time I evolve my Golett into a Golurk, but I may be mistaken.
let's say 2 feet.
2 foot? The answer is 1 foot 4.
Cedric Juniper,
Exact same hand that I just handed away.
and I put down NK, and I remember that because there was actually a little bit of confusion. He thought I was saying Entei, and I was saying NK. I'm like, dude, NK, Squid Dude. Apparently he wasn't very caught up on the X and Y Pokemon. But, whatever, so I drew 3 cards, I attached a Golett, and actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I evolved that Golett yet. I think he was just ready to Mega Punch. So,
That's what Miles said earlier. Yeah, you did.
Super Sword for knockout?
so, he knocks out, yeah, I didn't evolve it, so he knocked out my Dino. Looks like he only has 2 prizes now, so apparently I was wrong about the count at the end. So, what I did was just Mega Punched, I believe. Which was only the first time I had ever used Mega Punch on that Golett. I typically had them evolved before then. That's a good judge. Alright, looks like the game is just about to wind down. Just needs to take out my Golett, which he does. He has 1 prize card left. And then I have to bring out Dino again. There's another Dino. So I'm like, yeah, this is happening again. And I just have to deep Growler, so. Pick up my deck. I think I used Pokeball or Master Ball.
Chandelier. I believe I did already attach energy this turn, right? Or was that last turn?
That was last time.
Alright. Attach retreat.
So I retreat Dino and bring out Chandelure. Although it wasn't really going to do much for me. He brings out Black Kyurem EX, Black Ballista for the knockout, and that is the aim. Ugh. 0 for 5. I'm telling you, it's because I forgot my deck at Aiden's. Oh my god, I felt so stupid afterwards though. They handed out a pack, so I have 2 4th place Dinos, and then I got a pack in which I got a Reverse Foil, Pokemon Center Lady, Blacksmith, Ultra Ball, all that kind of stuff. Between the rounds, I had also traded to get a Dark Claw and another Shadow Circle. And then I'm stretching again because apparently I'm tired or something. So I believe that is it for this video. So, like, favorite, favorite, comment, rate, favorite, rate, comment, subscribe, favorite, comment, rate, comment, favorite, subscribe, rate, favorite, comment, become a YouTube partner. Today. So, rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more Agent Mushroom films to whom maybe today. And, like I say, at every ending of the video, Agent Mushroom Films, signing out.